Good evening, everybody. It's that time again. Welcome to Wednesday night loving kindness meditation. My name is Alex. It's wonderful to be here with you tonight. If there is anybody here, only I'm here and Travis is here. If there's anybody online with us tonight this is your first time to a class at the Dharma Bum Temple, or this is your first time to a class for Wednesday in the loving kindness meditation, say hello, say something in the box. We'd like to acknowledge your presence and say hello. If you're not new, say hello anyway. I'd still love to hear from you. This is a necessary yet somewhat lonely way to do this class, as I can't see you. So I don't know what's going on with you. And so usually when we have in-person classes, I can get a sense of kind of what's going on with people just in general before I even ask them how they're doing. You know, it's just that kind of vibe in the room and the looks on your faces and all of that kind of stuff. But I can't see anything like that now. So say hello, let me know how you are. Travis will say something. So the format of this class is we're going to have this short introduction. We're going to do a meditation on loving kindness, and then we'll engage in some sort of question and answer session afterwards. You can tell I just woke up. I usually take a nap before I do these classes. And so that'll be the class, right? So really quickly, the word that we have in mind, or the word that we talk about in this class when it comes to loving kindness, is this word called metta. It's M-E-T-T-A. And this word comes from the ancient Pali language. And Pali is a language which is pretty close to what we think the historical Buddha spoke 2,500 years ago. And as with a lot of ancient languages, when it's finally translated into English, what we know now, this word can mean many things. So you hear loving kindness, unconditional friendliness, goodwill. It's simply a wish to be happy. And it's more than just a wish to be happy. It's a wish for people to do the things that cause happiness, right? So we want people to do the things that cause happiness, right? And what causes happiness, you might say? Well, what causes happiness are our positive thoughts, words, and actions. So you hear a lot of people who lead classes here, think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds, right? And so this is an ancient mantra that even predates Buddhism. This mantra actually can be traced back to Zoroastrianism. Zoroastrianism is a monotheistic religion. It's the world's oldest monotheistic religion. It's still practiced today in like Iran and some other places as well. But it's certainly applicable to Buddhism, and it's certainly applicable to the teachings of the Buddha, right? Because we don't want to harm anyone with our thoughts, words, or actions, including us, including ourselves. So that's kind of what we're going to do today. We're going to do this practice or do this meditation on loving kindness, and we're going to focus really on having loving kindness for ourselves. And there's a really easy and gentle way to do it, in case anyone is new and is kind of freaking out about, oh no, I don't want to do loving kindness for myself. That's horrible. No, it's the most important part of the practice. Because if you can't have that feeling in your own heart, that feeling of loving kindness, that unconditional friendliness and goodwill, that wish to be happy for you, how can you have this wish for another person? Because if you don't know how that feels yourself, right? And so that's why it's so important that we have this loving kindness for ourselves. So this is a very gentle way of getting into this practice, and this is kind of what we're going to do tonight. Travis, has anybody said hello?
Yes. Bill said, hello, I haven't been able to make class for a while. I'm glad I can tonight.
Hi, Bill.
Eric said, hello from 4 blocks away, not new.
Hi, Eric.
DD73 says hi.
Hi, Dee Dee.
And then Janie Jones, hello, even when not here, I catch up later. It does feel like you're looking right at me.
Good. I'm glad. All right, hello to all of you who said hello, and hello to all of you who didn't say hello. It's okay. All right, so let's go over some instructions here for some seated instructions before we start our meditation. Okay. Stretch. Okay, so if you're seated on a meditation cushion, that's great. Just make sure that you're seated on the forward third of the cushions so that your hips are higher than your legs. And hopefully your legs are in some sort of crossed position. And so your body's, the lower part of your body is making that tripod that's kind of tilting down. That's nice and comfortable and really sustainable, for the long haul. If you're seated on a chair like me, or seated on the edge of your bed, or at a desk or table or something like that, you just want to make sure that you're seated comfortably and that your feet are, flat on the floor with your legs a few inches apart. Try to see if you can take your back off the back of the chair. And so what I like to do is I like to make my back super duper straight. And this is for those seated in a cushion too. So make your back super duper straight and then relax. So your shoulders have dropped, but your core is still somewhat engaged. Holding your body in that kind of erect position. If you remember anything during the meditation, just remember that. If you start slumping during the meditation or like leaning back in the chair like that, it's okay to notice that and just to sit up again. It's all right. Your head is nice and straight, maybe tucking the chin under just a little. And you can close your eyes, you can open your eyes. You can half close your eyes and look 45 degrees down past your nose in this kind of soft, unfocused gaze. And if you want to know what that looks like, just look at pretty much any representation of the Buddha. All of the thangkas here, all of the statues that you see behind me, all of them are pretty much the same. The Buddha has his eyes kind of half closed. In the West, it's just easier to close our eyes, and so you can do any of those things. Just make sure that you're comfortable. All right. And a couple of things before we actually start. And one is, and this is really important, is to try to maintain this attitude of no struggle. And this is a form of loving kindness. We don't want to struggle with our posture. We don't want to struggle with our eyes, and we don't want to struggle with our back, and we don't want to struggle with our hands, and we don't want to struggle with any of these things in the physical body, right? So the seated instructions that I gave you will give you the best chance of staying still, which is our goal. We want to stay as perfectly still as we possibly can, because if we can maintain that stillness, the mind becomes still, the body becomes still. And we can relax and we can really focus on our practice of loving kindness. But we're humans, right? And we have, we're not always going to stay still. We're not these master meditators who can stay still for 10 hours at a time, or however long you hear these masters staying still for. And it's so okay to move if we need to move. Yes, try to stay as still as you possibly can, but, don't be a super perfectionist about it. It's okay to move if you have to. If your leg gets tired, if your back gets, slumpy, if, whatever. whatever the case may be. It's okay. Just even if you have to, in the middle of the meditation, get up, stretch your arms, crack your neck, and do whatever else you have to do, and then sit back down in this kind of seated position, sustainable seated position, begin again. That's okay. There's no problem with that. There's no demerits for that. There's no anything for that. That's treating yourself with some loving kindness, especially now when we need it the most. All right. And the second thing, actually, I'll wait and tell you during the meditation. All right. So I'm going to get out my handy dandy timer. And I think the people outside in the car that are playing the Buddhist chant music are doing so on purpose. I don't know if you could hear it. Something Chinese, so beautiful. And they know they're doing it. That's okay. We honor that. All right, guys. Let's go do this, all right? And so just allow your eyes to close. Making sure you have that nice and comfortable, sustainable position so you're not likely to move around too much. And when we sit like a Buddha. We can even imagine ourselves as the Buddha sitting underneath the Bodhi tree of enlightenment, concentrated and focused on our practice of loving kindness. So at first, taking a deep breath all the way in and all the way out. Not forcing it, letting it be quite easy and quite natural. So just for the next few moments before we begin our formal practice of loving kindness meditation, just rest as gently as you can in the sensations of the breath. So to begin our practice of loving kindness, we're going to start with a benefactor. And a benefactor is anyone who has shown us great love and or great kindness. Someone who it's really easy to have these feelings for. You just think of this person and you smile and your heart gets bigger and warmer. And it could be pretty much anybody. You know, mother, father, brother, sister, best friend. They could be living, they could be not living. They could be someone who is well known. You don't even have to know them personally, but they've meant something to you in some way. And to wish them loving kindness, you can do it a couple of different ways. You can repeat phrases over and over. Phrases like, may you be happy. May you be safe from inner and outer danger. May you be well in body and mind. May you be at peace and live at ease in this world. And you can repeat one or more of those phrases, or if you don't want to repeat phrases, you can just radiate loving kindness from your heart to theirs. And this beam of loving kindness, if you want, can be any color. It could be vibrating, it could be warm, it could be cool, it could be anything that you want it to be. It helps to picture this person in your mind. It helps to smile when you do it. Smiling can naturally gladden the mind, or at least help. And so for the next few moments, we'll do this practice of loving kindness for our benefactor or benefactors. And now we can shift our focus just slightly from loving kindness for our benefactor to now having our benefactor doing this practice for us. And we can imagine this as part of our practice. So we can imagine our benefactor in our mind's eye, just smiling at us. And they're saying these same phrases of loving kindness for us. May you be happy and say your name. May you be safe from inner and outer danger, and all of the other phrases. And you can imagine them doing that. Or you could just imagine them shooting a beam of loving kindness from their heart to yours. And this is a really important part of the practice. And this is where it helps sometimes if you could put your hand over your heart. And can you allow all of this loving kindness from your benefactor to enter your heart? And with your hand over your heart, can you feel if there's any resistance? Any of the, I can't let this in. Is there any of that? You don't have to judge that if it's there. Any resistance. Can you simply just breathe into it? And can you just open and receive this loving kindness from your benefactor who loves you so much? Can you accept their gift fully and without reservation? So we'll do this practice of imagining our benefactor doing this practice for us for the next few moments. And again, it's so helpful to smile too. And now, shifting our focus again, can we now do this practice of loving kindness for ourselves? And you can keep your hand over your heart if that's where you had it. And can you just think about your own wish to be happy, your own wish to be safe and happy and healthy, free from danger and harm, which is the same wish anyone has for themselves. And you can begin repeating these phrases of loving kindness for yourself. May I be happy. May I be safe from inner and outer danger. May I be well in body and mind. May I be at peace and live at ease in this world. And slowly and gently just repeat these phrases to yourself, listening for your heart's response. Breathing into any tension or resistance. Maybe even saying to yourself, it's okay. It's okay if you have this resistance. It's nothing shameful or wrong. We can forgive ourselves for this. It's just our conditioning. This practice helps us to condition ourselves in another way. So we'll just do this practice of loving kindness for ourselves. And then finally, to end our practice, we can wish loving kindness for as many people as we can. You can simply do all beings in all directions, or just go out as far as you can from your body. Maybe all the people in your neighborhood, then go all the people in the city, all the people in the county, all the people in the state, all the people in the country. Just go out as far as you can if you want to do it in that kind of incremental way. May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings be healthy. May all beings do the things that cause happiness. And we'll just finish with this. So just open your eyes when you're ready. And just take about the next minute as you stretch your arms and stretch your legs. Just take this next minute out in silence. keeping that mindfulness of loving kindness about you. If you have any questions you'd like to pose, or questions on the meditation or the instructions or whatever else, I would love to hear from you. Just post it in the chat box and Travis will relay that to me. Okay, that was good for me. Hope it was good for you too. So, again, any questions? Happy to take any questions about Buddhism, about this practice, about the instructions, about what this experience of meditation was like for you. That's something I'm always interested in. So if you want to say something, I would love to hear from you. So until we get some questions, I was thinking about, I was thinking about something that a friend of mine posted on Facebook. And then I thought it was really funny. And then I always think about, well, how do I use this kind of in my practice? And, I've spoken a lot about how this lockdown and this isolation and this, lockdown, isolation, just kind of absence of other humans, how this is not super hard for me. I mean, it's a little bit, but really not too much. I'm relatively well suited to it. I am an introvert by nature, but it's more than that. And the thing that the friend of mine posted, we're of the same generation. I'm a Gen X person, and I'm pretty early Gen X. And we're known as the latchkey generation. We're the generation where both parents started working. So, by and large, we took the bus to school, we took the bus back home, and then we had a key, and then we let ourselves in, and we were left to our devices a lot because our parents were working, and that was certainly true for me. I was left to my devices quite a lot, and part of it was, it just was what it was in a way, although it was very painful. It's just what the situation, nobody thought anything of it really at the time, even though it was painful. So now I find myself in a position as an adult where I'm forced to be alone much of the time. And those survival skills that my generation learned come in really big, come in handy now. And it's not just me, it's plenty of people, plenty of Gen X people. So, I mean, I could live on dry pasta and Tang and Pop-Tarts for like a century. It's just not an issue for not just me, but my generation. As long as I have that and some books, I'm pretty much good. But now I have more than that. I have Netflix, I have Amazon Prime, I have Hulu, I have Disney Plus, I have all these different things. I have the internet, the rest of the internet, I should say. And I was thinking about all of that, and I was thinking about this I don't know if it's a Lojong saying. It's a Lojong is like a Tibetan kind of practice, but it's called using poison as medicine, and that's really connecting with a lot of these difficult feelings. And I don't know too much about it, so if someone could chime in there. But this is still a difficult time. It's still isolation, and it's still loneliness, and it's still all of these difficulties, and this economic uncertainty and food uncertainty, and for a lot of people. And I don't want to minimize people who have it a lot worse than me, because I still have a job, and I know a lot of people don't. But I remember that. I remember those times, years and years and years ago. And this is a wonderful time for practice. It's a wonderful time to reflect, and it's a wonderful time just to catch up. I don't have to be watching all these shows all the time, and I really don't. I don't watch a ton of internet shows, but I watch some. I'm getting caught up on the Umbrella Academy right now. But I remember all of that. I remember what it was back then. So when this lockdown started happening, and so we started getting isolated, like, oh, this is kind of familiar. I've gotten through this before. And this isolation, this loneliness, this absence of other humans is difficult still. But at least I have some sort of frame of reference. Oh, I can do this. It's kind of like when, the Buddha was, struggling for enlightenment, when he was still Siddhartha, he wasn't even the Buddha yet. When he was Siddhartha, struggling for enlightenment, doing all these difficult practices. And he said, I'm not doing that anymore. He cleaned himself up and he got something to eat, and then he sat down under the Bodhi tree of enlightenment, and he says, I'm not doing anything. I'm not moving from under this tree until I find the final answer. And I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it. And that was when he really first just completely surrendered. He completely surrendered to his conditioning, the way he was doing things before, the need to go back to any of his training, And one beautiful thing that happened when he completely surrendered and sitting underneath the Bodhi tree of enlightenment was he remembered this time when he was a kid, when he was 9 years old, and he was at this planting ceremony, and he was just kind of sitting there, and his father was out doing this ceremony thing, and he was just sitting under a tree, and he noticed some ants there, and he was watching the ants, and he realized that when they plow the fields, that the ants and the other creatures who live in the soil are going to be uprooted. Many of them are going to die and lose their home. And he just naturally fell into this meditative state and attained this wonderful, meditative absorption. And he was only 9. He didn't know anything about about meditation or anything like that. And he sat like that for a really long time, deeply absorbed in meditation. And so when Siddhartha remembered that when he was sitting underneath the Bodhi tree, he said, oh, I've done this before. I forgot about that experience when I was 9 years old. I've done this before with no training whatsoever. And that gave him the confidence just to sit there for as long as it took. And then to finally gain freedom and gain enlightenment. And so when I think about that, I think about, oh yeah, I've done this before. This whole lockdown thing, this whole isolation thing, this whole being left to my own devices thing. I've done this before. And if you're anywhere near my age, and I'm 54, if you're anywhere near my age, or even if you're not near my age, you just like to be alone, you've probably done this before. And even if you're not in my generation, you still have probably done this before. You face difficult times, and you face times of isolation, you face times of being alone and maybe even being lonely, and you got through it. And so to have that realization is a kind of a wonderful thing. To have that realization of, oh yeah, I've kind of done this before. The scenario was a little bit different, but I've done this. And so you can do it again. And so you have all this time, you can always practice, right? So that's a little bit about what I was thinking of today. It's a short talk. Are there any questions?
There's a few people shared.
Good.
So Bill shared, I tried to keep a slight smile throughout the meditation this time.
Mm-hmm.
Normally I start with a smile and then it falls away.
Mm-hmm.
It felt nice to keep a slight but genuine smile during the meditation.
Sure does, doesn't it? And the reason we smile, it's kind of like an acting as if kind of thing, and as if we're acting as if we're happy, we're acting as if, and then you can train your mind to actually be happy. And this is kind of one of the easy training methods that we have for this. And it makes our meditation a lot more pleasant. So I'm glad that you're able to do that, Bill. Thank you.
Janie shared, me as well this time, and the smile stayed all by itself. And for me, the meditation ended with feeling energized and calmly happy. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Janie. It's wonderful, isn't it? Is that it? Okay, that's okay. All right. We're given this opportunity, being left to our own devices for much of the day. We're given this wonderful opportunity to practice, to just sit, to just notice, to just go slower. And the slower you go, the more you notice. There's certain things that happen when you go slower. One of the things, and this is not really, is kind of practice, but this is the temple, and I'm the only full-time resident. Travis is here like about half time. And so I clean pretty much all of the inside of the temple. The upstairs, downstairs, resident area, everything except the gift shop, and Travis does that. And it used to take me a long time, but in a way, I'm not any faster or slower. I'm just more efficient. But there are times when I notice that I'm just going kind of in a hurry, that I just slow down. And when I slow down, I notice more things to clean. Like things that I missed. And I'm not upset about it or anything like that. Oh yeah, look at that. Look what happens when you slow down, you just notice more. In my meditation practice, my bow is much slower. And I feel so much better when my bow is much slower. So I'm just sitting, and I have my little, and I do this even though there's a big giant temple behind me and like statues everywhere, I don't meditate here. I meditate in my room. I have my own altar and my own statues and everything like that. And so I'm sitting there on a cushion, and when I bow, I bow much slower, and it just makes me feel better. It makes me feel calmer the slower I go. Like I don't have to go so fast. I can be more mindful in my movements. And the more mindful I am in my movements, for some reason, the happier that I am. It's amazing how that works. What time is it? 7:54. So that reminds me of part of the story. One of the Buddha's chief disciples, he had two chief disciples. One of them is Sariputra. And how Sariputra came to the Buddha when he was just a kid, essentially, he was a Brahmin youth. He was looking for a teacher, and he saw one of the Buddha's first students, Asaji. And Asaji had just learned the Dharma, just the basics of the Dharma, and he noticed Asaji going really slowly and mindfully with his bowl. And there was something about those really slow, mindful movements, which was a lot different than the rest of the monks that he saw, that didn't have the Buddha as a teacher, had some other teacher. That really attracted him to whatever he had. And, so that just kind of reminded me of that, those slow movements, more mindful and more meaningful. So anyway, just wanted to share that really quickly. So we have 5 minutes left. There we go. I would love to hear from you. If not, that's okay, we can end. It doesn't matter, we don't have to end at 8 o'clock or 8:02. Okay, that's fine. It is wonderful to be here with you guys. I love all of you, whether I can see you or not. So let's join our palms together on our hearts, please. And may the benefits of this meditation, this discussion, be received by all beings. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be joyful and at ease. May all beings be happy. May all beings be loved and seen for the beautiful, radiant beings that they are. Thank you for coming. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye now.